Hi, I'm Hazel, and this is your guide to the Bucky pet battle on Argus. I'm going to start with a quick strategy to beat him for your world quest. Then I'll show you strategies for every single pet family for progress on the Family Fighter achievement. Bucky lives here on Macquarie. I am delighted to say that he doesn't dodge or heal, which in this zone is just a breath of fresh air. First up, the speedy strategy for doing your world quest. This will also double as the flying strat. And my first slot is any Skyfin pet set up with Wild Magic and Predatory Strike. Second is Icky with Black Claw and Flock, and third is any flying pet with less health than Icky and a damage move. I brought my Pterodax hatchling with Slicing Wind. Start with the Skyfin and use Wild Magic. Bucky void portals and brings in your Icky. Use Black Claw, then Flock. Icky doesn't quite close the deal and dies to void portal, so my Pterodax finishes the fight with Slicing Wind. Next, Aquatic. My first slot is a speed breed Mongoose pup with 357 speed, set up with Gnaw and Screech. Second, a juvenile Scuttleback or other spiky crab with more than 253 speed, set up with Rip, Spiny Carapace, and Blood in the Water. Third is the Spawn of Gnathus with Swallow You Whole and Thunderbolt. Start with the Mongoose and use Screech. His void portal brings in the crab. Use Spiny Carapace, and then Rip, and then Blood in the Water, and then Rip one more time. He kills your crab with a void portal and brings in the eel. Use Thunderbolt, then Swallow You Whole. Void portal brings back our Mongoose and we'll spam Gnaw to finish the fight. Next up, Critters. We're going to keep things very simple and use 3 rabbits with more than 338 speed, each set up with Flurry, Dodge, and Stampede. Start the fight and use Dodge, then Stampede, and then Flurry. Repeat that sequence and keep repeating it until you win. There's very little in this world that cannot be conquered by a team of determined bunnies. Next, we'll do Elemental. In my first slot is Surger with Surge and Stone Rush. Second, I've got a Blazing Cinder Crawler with Flamethrower and Brittle Webbing. Third is a Fellasher with Toxic Smoke and Stun Seed. Starting with Surger, use Surge. It is his favorite thing to do. Bucky void portals and brings in the Cinder Crawler. Use Brittle Webbing and then Flamethrower twice. Pass the round and he void portals in your Fellasher. Use Stun Seed, then Toxic Smoke. Bucky brings back Surger. Use Stone Rush and then Surge to finish him off. Next is Humanoid. My first slot is an Anubis Idol with Demolish, Stone Skin, and Deflection. Second is Hogs or a Murloc with Stampede, and third is a Rotten Little Helper with Ice Lance, Ice Tomb, and Grinch's Gift. Starting with the Idol, use Deflection, then Stone Skin, then Demolish twice. It's okay if you miss most of your Demolishes. Use Deflection again, then Demolish twice more before he void portals in your Hogs. Use Stampede. His next void portal brings in your Rotten Helper, at which point use Grinch's Gift. If that doesn't do it, you've got one more round for an Ice Lance. Next, Mechanical. In the first slot, take any mech pet with over 253 speed and preferably batter. Today, I've got a blue Clockwork Rocket Bot. The second slot is Tinytron with Flamethrower, Lightning Shield, and Fire Shield. Third, a Cogblade Raptor with Batter and Screech. Starting with the Rocket Bot, pass the round and he brings in Tinytron. Use Fire Shield, then Lightning Shield, then Flamethrower. This is far from the only way to do Mechanical, but I have been dying to bust out my Tinytron and today is finally the day. By the time the Cogblade Raptor is void portaled in, he's already down by more than half. On the Cogblade, use Screech, then spam Batter. If your Cogblade doesn't finish it, another Batter from your first pet ought to do it. Next up is Beast. My first slot is a Cheetah Cub with Screech. You could also use a really fast cat, but it must have more than 338 speed. Second and third, I'm using the Zandalari Ankle Render and Kneebiter, both set up with Black Claw and Hunting Party. Start with the Cheetah, use Screech, and get swapped for a Zandalari Raptor. Because one of mine is Power Balance, he goes in first and has a leg up in speed. Use Black Claw, then Hunting Party. When he gets swapped out, Hunting Party on the second one. If it somehow comes back to the first cat, we always have Pounce, but this should be over pretty quickly. Next, Dragonkin. My first slot is Chrominius with Howl and Surge of Power, and my second 2 slots are my Nexus and Stormborn Whelplings, both with Arcane Storm and Mana Surge. Start with Chrominius and get swapped for a Whelp. Use Arcane Storm, then Mana Surge. When he swaps in your other Whelp, Mana Surge again. After a bit of that, he brings back Chrominius, and we're going to Howl, then Surge of Power. All of these moves give me those WoD pet battle feels. Next up is Magic. My first pet is a Sapphire Cub with Pounce and Screech. Second is a Minfernal or another Space Abyssal with Immolate and Explode, and third is an Enchanted Broom with Batter and Wind Up. Start with the Sapphire Cub and use Screech. He swaps in your Infernal. Use Immolate twice, then Explode. Switch your Sapphire Cub back in and use Screech again. He goes ahead and void portals in your broom. Use Wind Up, and then Batter, and then Wind Up. That should do it. Last is Undead. My first slot is a Senjin Fetish or Voodoo figurine with Flame Breath and Wild Magic. Second, our Unborn Valkyr with Shadow Slash, Curse of Doom, and Unholy Ascension. The third slot is a Bone Shard using Chop and Blistering Cold. Start with the Fetish, and he brings in your Valkyr. Use Curse of Doom, then Shadow Slash, then Unholy Ascension. He brings in your Bone Shard. Use Blistering Cold, then Chop. Now that he's chilly, he'll bring back your Fetish. Use Wild Magic, then Flame Breath. That is just a delightful amount of debuffs. So that's Family Fighter Bucky. I feel like he's just the right size for a gnome mount, and now I wish there was a toy that let me ride around on my pets. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for the rest of the Family Fighter guides and other super cool WoW videos. Let me know what you think, share your own strategies in the comments if you like, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.